Hey and welcome everyone. Happy Monday. It's day 83. We have a week to go on this 90 days. And no, don't worry, after 90 days, we're not shutting down. We're going to continue, but it's going to be this full speed 90 days. And in the next couple of days, I'm going to talk a bit about product, talk a bit about marketing, talk a bit about where everything is going to go until the rest of the year, and then even all the way until the end of 2025. So yes, we do have long-term plans on all of this. Actually, short-term and mid-term. Long-term for me is all the way until 2030. But let's leave this out for now. So I'll talk about a very important concept, and that is that of the times when you are someone as a team lead, when everything is going really well, when everything is going really, really straightforward, and you have to be very careful not to do something what a lot of humans love to do, which is to create drama. Because we are primed, or we actually programmed in a way who always look for mistakes, because we have been primed for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, 2 million years, going through the jungle and always being worried about the saber-toothed tiger here, the other tribe that wants to attack us and so on. So we're really, really good at looking for things that may go wrong. And so in a peacetime, right? So in a company, this is when everything's going really well. This is when you're growing. This is when kind of the team is working, never change a winning team and so on. It's your job here to kind of just keep going and not go and try to introduce new problems, try to constantly change certain things. And this is very tricky. Trust me, I know people who really think they're really good in those times, and they do love to constantly fight new issues, try to improve, and not just let it run. And for example, during those 90 days, I think there were, maybe at the beginning was a bit harder because everyone kind of had to get started. But then I really think so from day 10 onwards, for weeks, right? It was really just about keep it going, get this stuff out. Don't try to kind of jump in too much. Things kind of got their own momentum. And I think this was really, really important. And I think what's really important in those moments that you as a team lead, you don't go and you try to throw in a wrench or you try to throw in something new. You just keep going. And it applies to a lot of other things, right? Not only as CEO, but it applies to obviously also to you as a team lead. You hear this sometimes out there where companies are specifically hiring for a peacetime CEO, or they're specifically hiring for a wartime CEO. But what it actually means is really what's your key skill set during those times. Are you someone who's just really, really good at when everything goes smooth to kind of really kind of hit the road and go full on and just really produce and do really, really well? Now, there's those times when the tough decisions are needed, right? When you know whatever decision you're making, you will always kind of lose something. There is just no good decision, right? It's tough. It's the wartime. There's no winners in war, right? So it doesn't matter if you go left, if you go right, and you will always lose certain things, right? It will always be a sacrifice. It will always be difficult. And this is during those times when it's just really, really, really difficult. And if I look back over those last 10 months, I think there were, most of the months, to be fair, were more required for me to be the wartime CEO because we had so many tough decisions. And it was so difficult to know, oh, this is the right thing and this is going to make us win. Because to be fair, I think in those last 10 months, I don't think anyone actually stepped away from any of this as a winner. I think it was more on, let's not be the absolute loser. Winning just meant keeping the company going, right? So I think this is so important. And we're going to have the same thing over the past, let's say, like the last 2 weeks of those 90 days, because it's going to come down to a couple of things. It's going to come down to how do we continue after those 90 days? How big is the company going to be? What are the products? What are the services that we want to keep? And I'm going to talk about this actually in the next couple of days, right? And so I just want to prep you for that there's no right, no wrong. We're going to have to say yes to certain coins, to certain services, and we're going to have to say no to certain coins and certain services. And there was one of the reasons with the bridging, for example, where people obviously ask a lot of questions. Why did you stop the bridging? This was one of those decisions. There is no winner here because it doesn't exist. There are certain requirements that I have to have as a company, or that is being put on me as a company. It just makes it very hard to continue offering that, right? The same was with Yield Vault and so on. And look, I get it. Everyone feels, oh, it should be a different decision. But as a wartime CEO, you go there and you make the tough decision. We're going to have the same on regions. We're going to have to stop servicing certain regions just because the attempted fraud from these regions is just way too high. And it's just way too complicated. It's way too difficult, right? And it also comes down to team size. The way we came into the 90 days with the entire company was it was too big, and I knew that, right? And I should have, and that's what most people had recommended. I should have closed the company at that point. And to be fair, right, for me, the main goal out of those 90 days was that after those 90 days, we have a reason, we have a motivation, we have a goal to continue. That those voices that said, hey, you should just close down the company, that those voices actually disappear. That those voices say, okay, fair enough. Like, if we do a little bit of some cuts, we can continue. And that's exactly what we managed to do, right? Those voices disappeared. Those voices now sit there and say, okay, it's not as, like, we're not there where we were a year ago, but now it really doesn't make sense to close the company. And at the end, that's really what to me it was. And these are these tough decisions, right? Where there is no right, there is no wrong. It's just trying to be less wrong. And I think that's a very, very, very key concept. And it's also a key concept to understand in what kind of time are you. If I bring this, for example, to investing, right? There are investment times when you just have to let your portfolio run, where you just don't touch it. And many times, right? These are the times where you get FOMO, where you're like, oh, should I go into this new altcoin? Should I jump into this meme coin? And then, you constantly buy high, sell low because you have this FOMO, right? And this is the mistake there. And these are the times when you actually should just let it run. And then there's times when shit hits the fan, when, the market goes all haywire. And look, we had this a bit over the last 2 weeks. And I know last week was actually relatively strong, right? The markets really recovered. If I compare the Monday 2 weeks ago, my goodness, it was like Black Monday in a sense. Right now it looks entirely different again. The market has really calmed down, and the recession talks from 2 weeks ago, they kind of disappeared. And so these are the times also as an investor. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. There's always those two things, and you need to understand what are you playing, what are you focusing on each of those times. So I just want to give you that. It's going to be an important week with a lot of updates, a lot of things. And I just, again, want to double down and triple down on one thing. We're not going to finish on day 90 with the company. The company's going to continue. We're just going to finish with that kind of recovery plan, that plan on really turning everything around. And I think we've done an amazing job on this. So with this, thanks so much. Going into this last week of the 90 days, very much looking forward to that. See you tomorrow.